Okay, this is video number 4, and we got a lot to do. So we're going to start off by cutting out the new body, and then we're going to sand that up, make sure it looks really good. I'm also going to take the Purple Heart fretboard that has the alien inlay in it, and going to create a epoxy resin binding on that. So that should be pretty interesting. You can see that go along. Going to put a little bit of some inlays on the body itself. And since we have to let the epoxy resin dry over time, I'll be creating some templates, mostly like the back cavities, the Floyd Rose cavity, just stuff like that in the meantime. So stay tuned, check it out. Please go ahead and subscribe and hit like and make some comments. Tell me what you're thinking. And just for a quick preview, you might not see all of this in this video, but I have got a little further. We're totally getting somewhere, but I got a lot of footage to get through. So let's see how it goes. So we're trying something a little different this time. So if you remember last video, we had two different fretboards. This is the rosewood, which I'll give you a close-up, and we also had the Purple Heart. Now I've asked a lot of people, I'm trying to get some feedback, see which one we should use. And believe it or not, it's almost like 50-50, but most people are saying that the rosewood looks great for the guitar, but the inlay doesn't come out. It's not prominent. Now with the Purple Heart, over there you can see that the actual inlay it has a very high contrast to that Purple Heart. So that green with the purple, obviously it sticks out. It's very cool. So also, I was thinking of another thing. It'd be kind of cool to have a binding, but a binding made out of the epoxy. So I'm trying something here. I want to see. I took measurements on both of these, but I took measurements on the Purple Heart fretboard because I'm going to try that one first, see how we can do. So typically, like, you need 43 millimeters wide over here, 57.5 millimeters down here where my where it joins the heel and into the body. And the fretboard just kind of follows up along, straight line through there. So what I'm doing here is I did a cut on both sides to get it close, and then I'm going to sand it. I'm going to sand it back to about 39 millimeters here, 53.5 millimeters here, which will give me about 2 mil on each side, okay, if I do it correctly. So it'll be 2 mil short on each side if you look at the center line over. And that's what we're going to do there. And typically, or basically what I'm thinking is, I'll set it down with some wax paper, so on and so forth, something we can do. I'll get some other wood, come up beside it, kind of tape it down, clamp it here, and then pour epoxy through the lines that come through. And by doing that and letting it cure, hopefully that should just hold up. And then I can just cut it to shape, and I'll have the epoxy binding. And then I can put the fretboard on. Now, is this going to work? I don't know. I've never seen somebody do that. It sounds like it should work. I'm going to try it and see how it turns out. I just think it would be striking, to have that green epoxy resin kind of binding that goes around the fretboard. So let's see. I don't know. I thought I would take a few minutes out and start talking about the progress and what I've done. So if you saw previously, I made a base so that I could pour the epoxy. I haven't really seen somebody doing an epoxy binding, and I thought it would just go good with the way that the inlays are with the Purple Heart, because it seemed like a lot of people were going for the Purple Heart over the rosewood, and I think mostly because it just contrasted so well. Of course, this will look much better once it's all done. So what I actually did was cut the wood, the actual fretboard, the Purple Heart, down by 4 millimeters. So I needed 43 millimeters at the top. I went down to 39. Again, 57 and a half down here. So just went down to 53 and a half. And then I poured that epoxy. And so this is why it's been taking a little longer, because you really have to wait for this to cure and give it a little extra time to harden really well. And so far, I've been taking it very slow, very easy, just to make sure, because I've never done this before. And I've just basically, as you saw before, possibly, I just sanded very flat, straight, to get all the cuts out from the bandsaw to try to trim it down. And I did all that. Now, at this point, I'm still a little high. So I have a little room, which is actually great. It's just what I need. I'm at sorry, a little dust. Up here at the nut, I'm at 46.5. So remember, I have to be at 43. So I still have 2.5, 3 mils that I can come in over here, but I wanted to get it as nice as I could. I'm looking to get about 2 mils of binding around the side all the way, besides the nut, and then down here. Now, let me see, I'm about 59.5 there. So I got 2 mils to go, but a mil on each side. So, and then also I had to go back, and obviously when pouring the epoxy, a lot of the epoxy seeped through the fret sawn marks. So I had to go back and do that. It's a little interesting. It's a lot more work than I thought it would be, to be honest, in the waiting portion. Also, I'll have to show some close-ups. I'm not very sure you can see, but to try to get the epoxy off the top when it flowed, after it hardened, I'd used some 60 grit, just really to try to get the epoxy that was over the top. And I can see that it's left these marks, these little divots at the top here, or around the sides. So once I moved to a smaller paper, or a much finer paper, like 100, the 220, it was much better. It didn't do that. So there was a lesson learned there. And I do think anyways, these will go away, because the next thing, once I start doing the radius on this, it's going to take a lot off the side. So I think those are going to go away. I'm going to use a finer sandpaper there, and that should just come out of the way. So next portion, sand the radius. I've already redid the fret slots, looks good. Once I do the radius on this, then it's off to putting the truss rod in, and I'm going to glue this on. And then once I glue that on, we'll cut out and, you know, kind of go from there. I don't know if you noticed with the body when I was doing it, but it was a spur of the moment thing. I had been thinking in my head, maybe doing, you know, maybe a couple of lines and putting some more circles in, doing something different to kind of bring the fretboard and the inlay out to the body. But when I poured the resin for this, I had a bunch of resin left over, and I was like, I should just use it. I should just use it. And spur of the moment, didn't even think, went and grabbed the router. This is like a, you know, a 1/4 inch bit, and just quickly drew out some lines that spared off, and I just freehand routed it. I mean, that was it. So these lines are not going to be perfect. That's not what I was kind of looking for anyways. I was thinking that. But they are, you know, I have all these different lines. And then from there, I'll incorporate maybe some purple and black and maybe some other epoxies in here, and create more circles and get it all done. I did get the body sanded around the edge, so I have the rough shape. It's all done. It feels and looks really good to me, actually. I'm not, you know, being envious or anything like that, but I just like it. This is the kind of shape I kind of liked anyways, with the cutoff horn. So this should come together pretty well. Let me see how so today, I get most of my time on the weekends. Today I'll start to, let's see, clamp this down, get a flat line, get the truss rod in here, and start to get that fretboard on and tape it up. And actually, you know, the Purple Heart looks pretty damn cool. And I can understand. I was really going for the rosewood. I think the grain on that rosewood's beautiful. But the Purple Heart just, it flows with this now. Like the whole idea of the green with the purple and the alien, and seeing the purple skunk tail looks really cool. Because that was my next thing. I was thinking, should I put a veneer of maybe some ash over the top of the headstock and stain it and do what I'm going to do the same as the body. But seeing the purple fretboard now and looking at the purple skunk stripe that goes up from the fretboard, I might just leave it the way it is. I kind of like it. Looks pretty cool. So there was where we are. Gonna start doing the radius, and I'm gonna get this neck done, at least glued up and all set for today, and then start on the body.